It's Game 7 of the 2014 World Series. The Giants are 1 out away from winning their third World Series in 5 years. Barry Bonds is 8 years retired, Willie Mays is 83 years old, and Rafael Devers and Matt Chapman aren't even in the league yet. So, how did they do it? The Giants came into 2010 barring a 56-year World Series drought. Despite historic seasons by Barry Bonds, aided by players like Matt Williams, Rich Arilla, JT Snow, and several other superstars who came through the Giants organization in the 2000s and 90s, the Giants came close but never got over the hump of winning the World Series. The season prior, in 2009, the Giants had their first season over 500 since 2004. They won 88 games. Even seeing the final season of future Hall of Famer Randy Johnson, who got his 3,000th strikeout with the club. But their 88 wins wasn't enough to sneak into the postseason, as the Dodgers would take the NL West and the Rockies would sneak into the wildcard game. Going into 2010, the Giants would add some veteran presence in an already experienced lineup. First baseman Aubrey Huff would join the Giants in the offseason, as well as 1997 World Series hero Edgar Renteria. Key pitchers would return from the 2009 season, including the likes of Matt Cain, Tim Lincecum, Sergio Romo, Barry Zito, and the 20-year phenomenon Madison Bumgarner. One person who wasn't thought of much coming into 2010 was 23-year-old catcher Buster Posey, who was drafted in the 50th round in 2005. Granted, he was a top prospect in baseball at the time, but he only appeared in 7 games in 2009 and only came in after an injury to Benji Molina. Posey was called up to the major leagues on May 29th of 2010 and started at first base against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Posey drove in the first runs of his major league career, going 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. He appeared primarily at first base through the end of June, and Posey hit his first career home run against the Reds on June 9th. Following Molina's trade to the Rangers on June 30th, Posey became the starting catcher for the Giants, and the rest was history. Posey would win Rookie of the Year and even finish 11th in MVP votes in 2010. And as you know, he would be there for all 3 World Series wins with San Francisco, and finished his career as one of the best San Francisco Giants ever. Now, another surprise MVP candidate was the first baseman that they acquired in the offseason on a 1-year, $3 million contract in 35-year-old Aubrey Huff. Huff would post a 5.7 WAR this season, belting 26 home runs and 35 doubles, all while batting .290 and even hitting an inside-the-park home run just 11 games into the season. Huff would practically save the Giants' season in Game 3 of the NLDS, belting a single with 2 outs in the 9th inning, with the series tied at 1. Now, during the Giants' 2010 postseason run and World Series win, Aubrey Huff became known for wearing a rally thong, which he joked would help the team win, and apparently it did, so good job, Aubrey Huff. Now, we can't go through the highlights of 2010 without talking about closer Brian Wilson. The previous 2 seasons, the dominant, unique pitcher for the San Francisco Giants came in the likes of Tim Lincecum, while this year in 2010, it was Brian Wilson. 2010 was historic for Brian Wilson, tying the Giants' single-season save record of 48 held by Rod Beck. He finished the season with a 1.81 ERA and 93 strikeouts in 74 2/3 innings pitched in 70 games. He converted 48 of 53 save opportunities and led the major leagues in saves, as well as leading the major leagues in saves in 4 or more outs. He had 10. He helped the Giants clinch the NL West against the Padres on October 3rd of 2010, and he was named this year in baseball's closer of the year after the season and finished 13th in MVP voting. The Giants finished 2010 winning 92 games and winning the NL West. They match up against the NL wildcard team and the Atlanta Braves, and Tim Lincecum would return to Cy Young form, fanning 14 in Game 1, leading the Giants to a 1-0 win in a pitcher's duel. In Game 3, Aubrey Huff would hit that game-tying single in the 9th inning, followed by a Buster Posey ground ball to second, which was bobbled by Brooks Conrad, and Braves fans don't like to talk about Brooks Conrad. Brian Wilson would save Game 3 after a 9th inning scare, and securing a spot in the NLCS versus the Phillies, who were looking to continue their historic postseason success in the past few seasons. Cody Ross would be the unsung hero in Game 1, drilling 2 home runs off of former Cy Young Roy Halladay, helping the Giants to a win. In Game 3, Matt Cain would pitch a strong 7 innings, only giving up 2 base hits, shutting out Philly 3-0. And postseason legend Juan Uribe would knock in a walk-off sac fly in Game 5, bringing the Giants to a 3-1 lead. Just one game away from the World Series, in Game 6, Juan Uribe would come in clutch again, hitting a go-ahead home run off of Ryan Madson. And who else but Brian Wilson would clutch a 5-out save to secure a spot in the World Series. Enter Edgar Renteria and the Giants' dominant starting pitching. They would shut out Texas twice this series and then hold them to 1 run in a series-clinching Game 5, which was won by this Edgar Renteria home run.
The 2-0 is hit high in the air to left center field. Back is Murphy on the run. 3-run home run Renteria. And a 3-0 San Francisco lead in the 7th.
The Giants would have their first World Series in 56 years, and they would finish 10th in payroll in 2010. In 2011, the Giants would win 86 games but miss the postseason, but in 2012, they would quickly return to postseason form. Do you guys remember that Rookie of the Year I was talking about? I think his name was Buster. Yeah, Buster Posey. Well, this was the season Buster Posey would make himself a household name. Buster Posey's 2011 season would come to an end abruptly after this play, which would probably change baseball forever. This did not slow Buster Posey down the following season. He blasted a career-high 24 home runs, 103 RBIs, and slugged a near .550, and led the league in OPS+. The Giants bolstered their outfield in the offseason, trading for one of the most underrated outfielders in the game in Melky Cabrera. He'd have his first and only All-Star appearance in 2012 with San Francisco, and oh yeah, he'd bat .346 in 2012. But his season would end early as, on August 15, 2012, he was suspended for 50 games without pay, testing positive for high levels of testosterone, suggesting the usage of PEDs. On June 13, 2012, Matt Cain faced the Houston Astros. Through 6 innings, he was perfect, and leading off the 7th inning was Astros center fielder Jordan Schaefer. In a 3-2 count, he would hit a deep fly ball to right center field, and back on it was center fielder Gregor Blanco, who would lay out to make one of the greatest catches I've ever seen in a game. With 125 pitches thrown and 14 strikeouts, Matt Cain's 125 pitches was the most pitches thrown in a perfect game, and his 14 strikeouts tied Sandy Koufax's record for the most strikeouts thrown in a perfect game. Melky Cabrera, Pablo Sandoval, Buster Posey, and Matt Cain would all represent the Giants in the 2012 All-Star Game. On September 22nd, the Giants would clinch their second NL West title in 3 years with an 8-4 victory over San Diego again. And the Giants were set to face a feisty Reds team who won 97 games and were led by Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips, Johnny Cueto, and flamethrower Aroldis Chapman. The Reds would actually take the first 2 games of the series in San Francisco, even blowing the Giants out 9-0 in Game 2. In Game 3, the Reds and Giants would go to extras tied at 1, and in the top of the 10th, Jonathan Broxton would have runners on first and second with 2 outs. A ball up and in would get away from catcher Ryan Hannigan, and this would eventually come back to bite the Reds, resulting in an infield single by Joaquin Arias. The Giants would come away with Game 4, and then Buster Posey would pimp the hell out of this grand slam, sucking the life and momentum out of Cincinnati. If Giants fans thought that series was stressful, they'd be in for a treat for the NLCS. Facing another NL Central team in the St. Louis Cardinals, who were coming off a World Series win the previous season in 2011, this series was just weird overall. While it went to 7 games, there was actually never a really close game or a dramatic finish, and all games or most games resulted in a blowout. Game 3 was the closest, which was a 3-1 win by St. Louis, and through an absolute downpour, the Giants would close out Game 7 with a 9-0 victory. Marco Scutaro would be the unlikely NLCS MVP after hitting 500 and tallying 14 hits in the NLCS alone. The World Series was set. The Giants were set to host the Detroit Tigers, and San Francisco was ready to bring home another World Series title. In fact, nobody may have been more ready than Pablo Sandoval, who drilled 3 home runs in Game 1, solidifying an 8-3 win. The Giants would shut out the Tigers in back-to-back games in Game 2 and Game 3, and then win Game 4 in extras in Detroit, sweeping the World Series. Buster Posey would win his first MVP in 2012, and the Giants would finish 8th in payroll in 2012. 2014 was the year of Madison Bumgarner, in both the postseason and regular season. In 33 regular season starts, he go 18-10 with a 2.98 ERA, recording 219 strikeouts. An injured Giants starting rotation would still produce in 2014, even sending 38-year-old Tim Hudson to the All-Star game. Despite a down year, Tim Lincecum would throw his second career no-hitter for San Diego in mid-June. Buster Posey would continue his dominance at the plate behind the dish in 2014, leading the Giants to a wildcard appearance versus Pittsburgh and setting the stage for one of the most memorable playoff runs ever. The Giants would have no easy task facing a hot Pirates team at an electric PNC Park. The two teams would hold each other to a shutout until this Brandon Crawford grand slam that may have set the Pirates organization 20 years back. The Giants would blow out the Pirates in this game 8-0 and would go on to the NLDS against the Washington Nationals. In the NLDS versus Washington, things would get spicy, including this Bryce Harper home run in Game 1.
That ball is absolutely crushed!
And this Bryce Harper home run in Game 4.
The 3-1. Harper hits it high and deep into the right field corner. If it's fair, it's long gone. That one is fair. Home run! And we are tied!
And we all know how this ended. The Giants took care of the Nats, winning the series in 4 to advance to the NLCS for the third time in 5 years. They would match up against the previous NL pennant winning St. Louis Cardinals, and honestly, every game in this series deserves to be talked about. The Giants shut out the Cardinals in Game 1 as a result of Madison Bumgarner masterclass, going 7 2/3, only giving up 4 hits and no runs. Colton Wong walked off an outstanding Game 2, tying the series at 1 apiece. Game 3 was another masterpiece. This game would also go to extras, and the Giants would win on a walk-up error by pitcher Randy Choate as he overthrew a fielded bunt to first base. Relief pitcher Yusmeiro Petit would absolutely save Game 4 as the Giants gave up 4 runs in the first 4 innings. Petit would then shut down the hot Cardinals offense, setting up a Jeremy Affeldt 7th inning, a Javier Lopez 8th inning, and then a Sergio Romo 9th to finish the game. A historic Game 5 would take place in San Francisco, and if you're a baseball fan, you've seen the heroics in this game at least a dozen times. Down 3-2 in the 8th inning, Mike Morse belted a solo shot to tie the game at 3, and you all know what happens after this. 1 out, 2 on, Travis Ishikawa at the plate. Roll the clip.
Travis Ishikawa hits one into right! The Giants win the pennant!
Kansas City was one of the most electric and surprising teams in the AL in 2014. Led by Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, Alex Gordon, and Mike Moustakas, an outstanding bullpen, this team was the blueprint for small market baseball teams following 2014. San Francisco and Kansas City would trade blows in Game 1 and Game 2. Giants fans would see another Madison Bumgarner beauty in Game 1, as he would go 7 innings and only give up 1 earned run. And the Royals won a close Game 3, but the Giants responded by unloading 11 runs on the Royals in Game 4. Game 5 was started and won by Madison Bumgarner, shutting out Kansas City, and oh yeah, he pitched a complete game. The Royals responded well by sending the series to 7, blowing out San Francisco 10-0 in Game 6. Both teams scored early in this game. Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford would both hit sac flies for the Giants in the second, and Alex Gordon would hit a double to bring home Billy Butler, followed by an Omar Infante sac fly. Mike Morse delivered again in the 4th, putting San Francisco up 3-2. Then the unthinkable would happen. 3 days after throwing a complete game shutout, Madison Bumgarner would come pitch the 5th inning. He would be absolutely dominant into the 9th inning when Alex Gordon hit a 2-out triple. Salvador Perez would come to the plate with the season on the line. In a 3-2 count, he popped up a fly ball in foul territory. Sandoval made the catch. Giants World Series champs again. The Giants finished 7th in payroll in 2014. I guess the point I'm trying to make is the Giants absolutely owned the postseason in this 5-year span. They won 10 straight playoff series in this span, and they did it maintaining most of their homegrown players and spending little to no money in free agency in the offseason each year. And what the Giants did in these 5 years is something we may never see again in baseball, especially with the landscape of the game today. So I think it's important that baseball fans really appreciate what the Giants did in this 5-year span and realize how rare this thing actually is, especially in today's modern baseball. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you.